Friday, 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 Friday. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Varsity Overland channel. So, it's Friday. It's a nice day. We're going to do a product review. I'm just going to jet over to the store really quick and pack up a bit just in case I happen to go camping this weekend. It's a possibility. Thunderstorms on the horizon, but we'll see. But we're going to stick around. We're finally going to do the awning review, so stay tuned. Alright, so I'm finally going to do a review for my rooftop mounted awning from Rome Adventure Co. It's mounted up to the Prinsu. I did mention during my last video when I did the rig walk around, I did mention a little bit about it. So I'm going to kind of expand on that now. I'll open up the awning so you can actually see how it deploys, how long it really is, you know, how easy the setup is. I have the smallest version of the awning. I guess you could say. They all extend to be about 6 feet long, you know, so they'll cast about, 6 feet of shade or whatever. But as far as the width, they make them in various sizes, and mine is 4 feet. So I have the 4 foot width awning. It's the only one, actually, that doesn't have the option of a exterior, like, annex room. And I'm kind of kicking myself in the butt because having an annex room would kind of be nice. After our 5-week-long trip, we discovered that, having the dogs, having a lot of gear, things getting dirty, raining, different kind of terrain. Of course, now I have mosquitoes everywhere, right? But yeah, an annex room would have been nice. So keep that in mind when you're looking for your awning. I went with the 4 foot long one, or the 4 foot width one, because of the space that I had on the Prinsu next to the iCamper. Maybe you don't have to really worry about that. And if you don't, I would definitely recommend getting a bigger one so that in the future, if you wanted to go with an annex room, you could. The annex room actually just hooks up to the awning after the awning is deployed, and you don't have to use the annex room every time. So, don't think if you happen to get the addition of the annex room that it has to be deployed every time you open the awning. It doesn't. It's a completely separate entity. You could just use the awning by itself if you wanted to. But I think what I'll do right now, just to get started, is I'll record a demonstration of the awning as I open it. I do still have the straps on it, so maybe I'll bring the camera up close so that you can see how I kind of release those straps. And then, actually, I'll just bring the camera up so you can see everything up close as I open it. Then I'll put it back on the tripod so you can see it unroll, deploy, blah, blah, blah. All right, so stick around. I'll just show you the opening process, talk a little bit more about it, and then we'll close it up. All right, so like I mentioned before, I have the straps. These are just kind of, I don't even know what the brand are of the straps, but I got them from Home Depot. They're just basic, kind of like utility straps that I use to kind of hold up the little bit of the awning that happens to sag by the top of the doors. So occasionally, if I left it without the straps, occasionally the little bit in the center that would sag would catch the top of the door. But luckily now with the straps, it pulls it up just enough to clear the top of the door. And that's really due to the Prinsu rack low profile awning brackets, which work fine. And they're definitely low profile because I didn't expect the awning to be attached this low or this profile to the top of the cab. So it works out well. I can clear my garage door so I never have to take the awning off. But I definitely had to use these straps to keep it from sagging. So anyway, I'll unhook these straps, which are just a little, they got a little extra on them. So we wrap them around so they don't flap around in the wind. All right, so we got the straps, that's one. That's two. All right, and then the rest of it is just basic, like any other Rome awning. Once you open it up, you've got Velcro straps on the inside. And I will undo one. I'll do one for now. Obviously, if I do the second one while trying to hold the camera, the whole thing's just gonna fall out, and I don't want that to happen. So I'll prop the camera back up on the tripod, and then you can see me deploy the whole thing. Okay. So, I know what you're thinking. Wow, is this your first time even using the awning? Because that was not very impressive as far as my setup. And no, it's not my first time using the awning, but is it my first time setting it up by myself in 6 months? Yeah, definitely. I think I tried to set it up by myself like right when I first got it. And then after that, every time that I've tried to set it up, there's been more than one person using it. And it is definitely an effective two-person job. One person, you see how it can get a little chaotic in there. The poles that need to extend from the truck out to the end of the awning, they kind of fold inward towards the top of the doors. And in order to get them out, you have to unroll the whole thing. So there's really no way to kind of like hook everything up ahead of time and then pull it out. And just doing that as one person, kind of like holding up one part, pulling out another, connecting everything, it gets a little extra. All right, but obviously it's not terrible. It's not the worst thing in the world. I'll probably speed up that video, so you might have just seen an accelerated version, but the time that it actually took me while I was recording it was a little over 3 minutes. It was like 3:05 or something like that. So as an individual with some practice, it would probably be 3 minutes, a little under 3 minutes if you're good at it. I mean, as far as a product, other than the setup, the product itself is great. And you can adjust the size of these poles. So if you happen to be under some light snow, I would say, or some rain, you can adjust one side to have it pitched in a way that allows the water and things to run off, which is something that we had to do when we were in the Mark Twain National Forest. We got out there. There was no rain on the forecast at all. As soon as we got everything set up and started cooking over the fire, downpour. So everything got soaked. Luckily, we already had this out, so we were able to kind of like just move everything underneath the awning, and then kind of continue our cooking process and clean up. But the fact that the dogs kind of like made their way underneath the truck, covered themselves in mud because of the thunder and the lightning, that didn't make anything easier. But anyway, So the awning, I'm gonna take the camera around. We'll look at the different components. I didn't set up every little detail, but you'll understand when I start taking it around. I did everything that's necessary, just to kind of like give you a demonstration. So let me grab the camera and we'll start poking around. All right, so we'll start here at the back of the awning where it connects over the truck. And one thing that I'll mention, something I kind of had to DIY, are these little Velcro pieces, which I just used double-sided Velcro tape. I put one piece on the metal and one piece on the canvas cover here. Because if I hadn't, you'll notice that it just kind of like hangs and there's nothing to hold it in place. So if I wanted to open the door, it would just kind of like, it would rub on the way out, and then on the way in, everything just kind of gets stuck. It gets stuck inside. So I just put, it's hard to see because it's the same color, but I put the Velcro tape on the canvas so I could just attach it there. There's another one over here, so I can attach it there. I could put a third one on this side, but currently there's nothing there because it just gets held up anyway. So now I can open the door, no problem. Okay, and so moving on from that, along with like the Velcro idea, these are Velcro pieces attached to the awning. This one's not attached to the pole like it should be, but I did these ones. All right, they wrap around. That's not a DIY thing. That's as it is. The awning comes with this, so that you can wrap it around the pole and hold it into place. And then you'll see here how the pole extends and it goes through and attaches to the rest of the awning there at the end. And then there are these straps or these ropes that you would just use to nail into the ground, all right, or I should say stake into the ground, to kind of give it a little bit more support, because otherwise without it, it's not the sturdiest thing in the world. I think we did use the awning obviously during our trip this summer, not necessarily for shelter from the elements like rain or anything, but we did use it for shade. We would often find our dog laying down on the ground in the shade of the truck, so we ended up popping the awning out a few times so that she had extra shade. And in the weather that we used it, it was just really hot and dry, particularly in Utah, so there wasn't a lot of wind. So I don't even know if we had to use the ropes that come with it to hold it down. But if it were more windy, we would be staking them down. Obviously, I mean, it's kind of like, my idea behind it is, if I'm using the awning, it's because we're going to be at that campsite for a while. In my mind, the awning is not a one night, perfect conditions, let's just open it up to add to our campsite kind of situation. Just because of the effort involved, it's fairly easy, but still just enough to make me go, yeah, we can leave the awning kind of wrapped up. We don't need it. So, you know, it's one of those things where I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. When it's raining, when it's insanely sunny and hot, or if we're going to be at a campsite for longer than, I'd say, 8 to 12 hours. If I'm going to be there longer than that, then I'll probably pop it open. But otherwise, I usually leave it wrapped up inside of its canvas. As a product, it's great. It looks really good. It has, let me see if I can show you, right? It's got the logo on the top there. The underside is nice. It doesn't look cheap. It doesn't feel cheap, that's for sure. And it's well made. It's just got a little extra effort involved. What we had to do is position it a little bit forward on the truck here on the Prinsu, so you'll notice the way that it's mounted extends forward beyond the Prinsu rack, and that's just because we wanted it to clear the tent. Technically, I guess it could slide forward this way and the awning itself would still be just under the iCamper, but the way the iCamper unfolds, we kind of use this section underneath the extra iCamper as like more coverage. So in that regard, this whole side of our truck kind of becomes covered when the two of them are open. All right, people, well, that's pretty much it for the review. As far as the product, the Roam Adventure awning, 4-width, 6-foot awning, I would probably rate it out of 10. I'd give it a 9 for a product. It's actually pretty good. Now, as far as the setup is concerned, if I had to rate it by yourself, it'd be a little bit lower, maybe more like a 5 or a 6, in case you couldn't notice by my slight struggle earlier. So yeah, I mean, other companies make awnings. Roam is a really good company. They're a really reputable company as well. So I mean, it's great, and I really don't have any problems with it. I probably let on like it was more effort than it was worth, but you know, there might be a slight lazy factor as well in that regard. So anyway, that's going to be it for the review. It's Friday, and believe it or not, I've got a little bit of work to do before I can actually sit down and enjoy my night. So I will see you guys next time.